Have you ever wondered what it takes to turn a bitter bean into the sweet, decadent chocolate we all love? It's a fascinating journey, and today we're going to pull back the curtain and explore the entire process, from a tropical farm all the way to that delicious bar in your hand. Let's dive in. Our story begins in the warm, humid regions near the equator, where the cacao tree, or Theobroma cacao, grows. This name literally means food of the gods, and for good reason. These trees produce large, colorful pods, and inside each pod you'll find the real treasure, about 2250 cacao beans, all snuggled in a sweet white pulp. The first step is harvesting. This is done by hand, with skilled farmers using long poles with knives to carefully cut the ripe pods from the trees without damaging them. Once harvested, the pods are cracked open, usually with a machete, to scoop out the beans and the pulp. It's a sticky but very important job. Now comes a crucial step that develops the flavor: fermentation. The beans and pulp are placed in large piles or wooden boxes and covered with banana leaves. For the next 5 to 7 days, a kind of magic happens. Natural yeasts and bacteria in the environment start breaking down the sugary pulp. This process generates heat reaching up to 50 degrees Celsius, which stops the beans from germinating and starts developing those complex precursor molecules that will later give chocolate its signature taste. If you skip or rush this step, you just won't get that rich chocolatey flavor. After fermentation, the beans are spread out on large mats or trays to dry under the sun. This can take about 1 to 2 weeks. The farmers regularly turn the beans to ensure they dry evenly. Drying is essential because it reduces the moisture content from about 60% down to around 7%. This prevents mold from growing and makes the beans stable for transport to chocolate factories all around the world. At this point, they look a bit like large brown almonds. Once the dried beans arrive at the factory, the real transformation begins. First, they are carefully cleaned to remove any stones, twigs, or other debris. Then it's time for roasting. Just like with coffee beans, roasting is a critical step for flavor development. The beans are roasted at high temperatures, which can vary depending on the type of bean and the desired flavor profile. This process brings out the rich aromatic compounds and deepens the color. The roaster has to be an expert to get it just right. A few seconds too long, and the beans could burn. After roasting, the beans are cracked open, and the outer shell, called the husk, is separated from the inner part, which is known as the cacao nib. This is done through a process called winnowing, where a current of air blows the lighter husks away, leaving behind the heavier nibs. These nibs are the pure essence of chocolate. They're crunchy, bitter, and packed with flavor. You can even buy cacao nibs to add to smoothies or oatmeal for a healthy kick. Grinding. The cacao nibs are ground into a thick, dark paste called chocolate liquor. It's important to note there's no alcohol in chocolate liquor. The name just refers to its liquid state. The grinding process releases the cocoa butter, which is the natural fat within the nibs, about 50 to 60% by weight. This chocolate liquor is the base for all chocolate products. From here, the path can split. The chocolate liquor can be pressed with immense hydraulic pressure to separate it into two components: cocoa butter, which is the palmiello fat, and cocoa solids, which are compressed into a hard cake. This cocoa cake is then ground into the fine cocoa powder you use for baking or making hot chocolate. But to make a chocolate bar, we go back to the chocolate liquor. This is where the chocolatier's art truly shines. Different ingredients are added to the liquor to create the different types of chocolate we know and love. For dark chocolate, you'd add some extra cocoa butter, sugar, and maybe a little vanilla or lecithin as an emulsifier. For milk chocolate, you'd do the same, but also add milk powder or condensed milk. And for white chocolate, you actually don't use any cocoa solids at all. It's made from cocoa butter, sugar, and milk, which is why it has that creamy, pale color. The next step is conching. This is a process of intense mixing, kneading, and aerating the chocolate mixture in a special machine called a conch. It can last for hours or even days. Conching further develops the flavor, gets rid of any remaining bitterness or offness, and creates that incredibly smooth, melt-in-your-mouth texture that we associate with high-quality chocolate. The longer the conching time, the smoother the final product will be. Finally, we have tempering. This is a precise process of heating and cooling the chocolate to very specific temperatures. Why is this so important? It stabilizes the cocoa butter crystals, ensuring the finished chocolate has a glossy shine, a firm snap when you break it, and doesn't melt on your fingers too easily. Untempered chocolate can look dull, feel crumbly, and have a grayish film on the surface. Once the chocolate is perfectly tempered, it's poured into molds to create bars, bonbons, or any other shape imaginable. Sometimes other ingredients like nuts, fruits, or caramel are added at this stage. The molds are then sent through a cooling tunnel to solidify, and there you have it. The long, incredible journey from a humble cacao bean to a beautifully wrapped chocolate bar. After being cooled and solidified, the chocolate is removed from the molds, wrapped in foil and paper to protect its flavor and freshness, and then packed into boxes, ready to be shipped to stores and, eventually, to you. So, the next time you unwrap a piece of chocolate, take a moment to appreciate the incredible amount of work, science, and artistry that went into creating it. From the farmers in tropical climates to the skilled chocolatiers in the factory, it is a global effort to bring us one of life's simplest and most delicious pleasures. Thanks for joining me on this sweet adventure. If you enjoyed learning about the magic of chocolate making, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. What should we explore next? Let me know in the comments below. See you soon.